All right. If you can hear the fire and you can smell the smoke, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is Smokin With Gary, where we don't rush meat, lie to ourselves, or trust anyone who says brisket's easy. I'm Gary, and today we're talking about the cut of meat that has embarrassed more confident cooks than any other thing on this planet. We're talking about brisket.
Smokin with Gary, the pitmaster king, teaching you the magic, the barbecue swing, recipes, wisdom, and a smoky good time. Light it up, it's Gary's shine.
Brisket don't care about you. Let's get something straight right now. Brisket does not care how much you paid for it. It does not care how many videos you've watched. It absolutely does not care what time dinner is supposed to be. Brisket is done when it decides it's done. If you try to rush it, it will punish you every time. This goes back to the story I told, I believe, in episode 1 or 2, when we were talking about getting the fire right, not chasing temps, and I was telling stories about how my dad used to cook, and my mom would be coming out wanting, him to hurry up because people needed to leave or what have you. And I mean, this is a perfect example of what I'm telling you is the brisket's not done till the brisket's done. You can try to rush it. You can try to, force it to be done, but it's not going to work. Not until you do the proper steps. If you don't do the proper steps, it'll bite you every time. I've seen it time and time again. Picking a brisket without getting fancy. You don't need the most expensive brisket in the cooler. You need a good one. Look for flexibility. Pick it up. If it bends easy, that's a good sign. Look for even thickness on the flat. Avoid hard, stiff corners. Fat matters, marbling matters, but don't overthink it. A good fire can make an average brisket great. A bad fire can ruin the best one money can buy. Trimming. Less is more. Now, I'm strictly talking to the ones that are cooking for your families. This is not a competition. This is not a competition trim that I'm speaking of. Trimming scares a lot of folks because they try to watch these people that do competitions. Competition cooking and backyard cooking are two totally different things. So when these people watch these trimming videos, they watch these world-renowned barbecue competitors, and they try to make their brisket that, you take an 18-pound brisket and you're left with, like a little piece. That's not the trimming we're talking about here. So don't let that scare you away, because it does scare folks. They either trim nothing or they trim like they're mad at it. If you want to clean it up, you might want to reshape just a little bit to help with your aerodynamics of the brisket. But I mean, you want to clean it up, remove the hard stuff, square the rough edges, leave about a 1/4 inch fat, to protect the meat. If you're throwing away more meat than fat, then you went too far. On your backyard cooks. Now, we're not quite getting into the competition yet. We're still learning the basics. As we go on, we will get into competition methods. Seasoning brisket. We've already talked about this, but it matters more here. Before you go spend all your money on a good rub from the store, learn your salt and pepper. Season evenly, season heavily. The brisket's thick. It can handle a little extra seasoning, I promise. But don't baby it. You baby it, you're not going to get enough seasoning to penetrate the meat when the juices start flowing into the meat and everything else like that. You're going to have to just see how you do with salt and pepper before you move on to anything else. That is just a pro tip. Brisket goes on cold. Here's a tip people argue about for no good reason. Put brisket on cold. Cold meat takes smoke better early on if it warms slow. It plays nice with the pit. Room temperature meat ain't necessary. The fire does not care. If you really want to get that smoke, that smoke flavor into your brisket, put it on cold. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Like I said, we're not talking about competitions. We're talking about your everyday. I'm cooking for the family. Easter's coming up. Happy Easter, by the way. That's the kind of person we're talking about right now. Not your, competitors or nothing like that. Fat side, up or down. This is where the internet starts yelling. There's nobody has the same answers, all that. All I'm going to say is it depends on your pit. If the heat comes from below, fat side down would protect the meat. It's above or even, fat up works fine. Know your pit, make decisions based on reality, not trends. Going back, talking about, fat side up or down, putting a cold brisket on, whatever. The first few hours matter most. Early in the cook, the brisket is wide open. It's taking smoke, it's building bark. This is where you want a clean fire and a steady heat. Don't spritz yet, don't wrap, don't mess with it, let the brisket be. The stall is where panic lives. You're cooking along, things feel good, then the temp stops climbing. Welcome to the stall. This is where bad brisket is born. Not because the meat failed, but because the cook panicked. Nothing's wrong. Moisture is evaporating, heat's balancing. Your only job here is not to screw it up. Wait the stall out. To wrap or not to wrap? Wrapping ain't mandatory. It's a tool. If the bark's set and the brisket's stalling hard, wrapping helps push it through. Butcher paper breeze, full traps moisture. Paper keeps bark better, full cooks faster. Choose based on what you need, not what you read. Now, I will say this. If you're cooking with mesquite, I strongly advise you to wrap your brisket at some point. Do not let that brisket cook all the way to temp with mesquite wood. I promise you will thank me later for never doing that. It is a strong, pungent wood. Me personally, I wrap with both. My brisket, I wrap with butcher paper first and then the foil on the outside. That's just me. That's how I do it. Is it right, wrong, or indifferent? It's up to you and what you like. Me personally, I like how I can keep my bark by using the butcher paper. I like how the foil helps push through the stall. That's what I like doing. That doesn't mean that's the only way. Temperature ain't the finish line. Here's where folks mess up. Cook their brisket to a number. 200, 205, 210. Those are suggestions, not rules. Brisket done when it feels right. Probe it. If it slides in easy like warm butter, you're close. If it fights back, walk away. I don't usually yell. I don't usually get loud. But I'm going to say this. Resting is mandatory. Let me say this even louder. If you don't rest the brisket, you just wasted your time. So let's rest, lets the juices redistribute. It lets the muscles relax. Minimum an hour. Longer if you can. Wrap it. Hold it warm. Be patient. This is where great brisket becomes unforgettable. Now, there are, depending on who you talk to, or see on the internet or what, some people will say, like, a pound an hour, or for every pound, half an hour. Me personally, when I cook a brisket, I usually cook it the day before serving. So, like, if I know we are going to eat brisket at lunch on Sunday, I'm cooking my brisket Saturday afternoon all the way till, it's done. And then I'm going to rest it until it's time to slice for the next day. That's how I do it. I'm not saying that everybody has to do it that way. It's slicing the right way. Slice against the grain. If you don't know the grain, you should have figured that out earlier. Flat and point run different directions. Your flat runs kind of long ways, and your point is exactly opposite. It kind of sits on here like this with your grains. So when you see people cut that brisket in half, like right here, yeah, you still got a little bit of that flat up under that cap and all that, but it's not going to be enough to make a difference. So when you're cutting your point, you'll actually cut it against the grain, like against the fingers. And on your flat, it's the same way. That's how you get the best way that I explain it. I try to put it into perspective to people. Say you have 20 water hoses, and you'll have, like, say, a foot of 20 water hoses, and they're wrapped with saran wrap all the way around, right? If you cut the way of the water hose, they come out, they're all tendons, they're still water hoses, they're still tough. But if you cut against them, to make smaller ones, you have the wrapping of the shrink wrap with all the 20 water hoses. And how easy is it going to be to just, have them everywhere? That's how my brain works and understands it. But everybody learns different. But like I said, like, this is the grain on the flat. It's usually running long ways, and then the cap sits on here just about like that. So a lot of people will cut right halfway into their brisket, then they'll trim the flat and then the point. Sorry about the dogs barking. Why brisket teaches humility. Brisket forces you to slow down. It punishes ego. It rewards attention. Every good pitmaster has been humiliated by brisket. If you haven't yet, your turn's coming. So in closing, here's what I want you to remember. Brisket ain't hard, it's honest. It tells you exactly how you treated it. Slow down, pay attention, and don't rush whatever deserves time. Fire don't lie, smoke always tells the truth, and good barbecue, like life, rewards the folks who slow down, pay attention. I'm Gary. We'll do it again next time.